Hello, today we are doing some repotting that is super overdue. This is part 3 of my how I prepare my houseplants for spring kind of series now, I guess. It all started in part 1 where I had an honest chat with you and let you know that I had really fallen out of love with my collection, and I guess through preparing them for spring, I'm kind of falling in love with my plants again. And part 2, I rearranged my whole collection. And this is part 3, going through the list I made in part 2 of all the plants that really need repotting. So what I did was, while I was rearranging all of my plants and checking in on them, I just wrote a list of anything that needed to be repotted, and also what kind of size pot that it would need. Now, I'm not getting particularly detailed with this. I was literally like big, medium, small, what needs a super big pot, what doesn't, so that I can kind of keep track of that. And I guess obviously I'm not going to be doing all those plants today, but we can make a start, and whenever I have a bit of spare time, I'm going to work my way through the list. Right, so I went to the garden centre and got more pots, which, if you have a houseplant hobby, you will know that the endless need for different types of pots, it literally is endless. It never ends. Now, in creating that list actually really helped for me to kind of say, okay, when I repot this one, there's going to be a free medium pot, and then I can bring that over to the list that needs a medium pot. So I could kind of track my pots a little bit that way, because sometimes I found myself, if I don't do this in advance, I end up either getting the wrong size pot, or I get too many pots that I don't actually need at that time. I try to work around it with that. So I've started small. I got 3 new pots that I definitely needed. I also picked up some fertilizer, which I don't ever really show on my channel because I tend to use a mix of like 2 or 3, but this is one that I love. It's an Irish brand called Better Plants. This is the cold processed seaweed extract liquid seaweed fertilizer, 100% Irish, 100% natural, 100% organic. Okay, so hanging pots. I find hanging pots that are nice really fucking hard to find. I'll tell you now, none of the pots that I got do I love the look of at all. But just from a practicality point of view, these are just the ones that I could find that would do the job. I don't particularly like buying new plastic pots. So I picked up this for my Hoya linearis, and this has been in the same pot since I got it at least 2 years ago, and it just dries out so often. And the reason I haven't repotted it is because I couldn't find the right pot, okay? So this is going to be perfect. It's a good size, I think. Size upgrade. It's a pretty big size upgrade. I'm not going to fill it to the brim, but I think it will be really happy with that. So yeah. The other 2 pots that I got are my super big pots. So yes, I needed some quite big pots for these. It's these. Okay, so these are quite big. Yes, they are plastic. No, I don't love that. It says eco-friendly. I don't know what that means. Who knows, really? Does the job. I love terracotta and I love clay pots, but it's quite hard to find when your plants get quite big. It's really hard to find ones that work, and then when they are that big, they can get exceptionally heavy and often break on me, which is just a waste as well. So for my huge pots and my big plants, I tend to use plastic. These are for my begonia snowcap, which this is a big pot upgrade for that one, but it is necessary, I think. It grows so fast and I just feel like I'm repotting it way too often. So I think it will be happy. And then for my biggest plant ever, my Epipremnum aureum marble queen, which you will have seen, and it's getting so big. So let's get into it. Coffee filters. my chosen material to stop soil going through the holes in the bottom of the pot. It degrades nicely up until the point that the soil is compact enough just to not fall through. It also obviously lets water through. It's cheap, and yeah. So I do plan on doing a video soon about my soil mix that I use. I do have an old video of that on my channel, but it's definitely changed since then, so I need to do an updated one. The soil mix that I'm using today is not what I would typically use. Annoyingly, I thought that I had all of the ingredients for my soil mix when I went to the garden centre to get the pots, and then realised when I got home that I did not. I only had some elements of it. So I had cocoa coir and organic compost and some ceramis. Still don't know how that's pronounced. Using a spoon for this, which is honestly the best tool ever. And shout out to Homestead Brooklyn, Summer Rain Oaks for that great wisdom. If you don't know of her or don't watch her, you definitely should. Honestly, one of my favorite plant channels and sister channel, Flock Finger Lakes, which is just amazing. I honestly, it's my favorite YouTube channel on all of YouTube. It's just so good. I love all of the topics, things that they do. So bringing over the big girl, we have quite a few rooties. Oh great, this is going to be a big huge mess. Quite a few roots coming out the bottom. So what I like to do with my plants is I don't like to waste nothing. So this top layer that normally comes off really crumbly, I will actually just put that into the pot because, whoa, oh my god, this is so much more root bound than I thought. At the end of the day, this plant has been living in this pot for a while, and it has a, what's the word I'm looking for? It has an ecosystem that it has like gotten used to over time. And so to like totally remove this soil and use only new soil, I think is mad, because I think it will take longer for your plant to adjust to the new substrate that you've put in. So I kind of like to mix them together. So what I'm going to do is, because we have a terracotta pot here, roots, because terracotta is a porous material, roots will be, they can kind of, the root hairs can stick into the porous material, and so if you just rip this plant out, you might cause considerable damage to roots. Like, I mean, I've done it before plenty of times, but you know, just saying. I like to put a bit of plastic or something to kind of loosen the edges. Jesus, there's quite a lot of roots here, bro. It just feels like there's only roots in here, like literally only roots. So I will try not to pull from the top until... Oh yeah, okay. Oh yeah, baby. Okay, you ready for the reveal? I'm going to zoom in for the root reveal. Oh gosh. Hey yo! Yeah, baby. Wow, what a beautiful root system. Oh my god, damn girl. Damn. I'm getting soil everywhere. Damn. Hello? Are we seeing this? Beautiful. What a good girl. Oh my gosh. Oh my god, I'm so excited to see like the future of this plant. My future. It's just so amazing, the transformation of this plant. And I know that Epipremnum aureum, I mean, classic houseplant, everyone has them. They are easy to grow. They're so common, all of those things. However, this plant I just find Okay, here comes a rant. I find that people can get so kind of taken away these days by a rare plant. And yes, of course, rare plants are amazing and they're so cool and like just, I don't know, there's so much that goes with it. That goes with rare plants, and it is something to be cherished and protected and enjoyed and all of those things. But I do feel that there can be a kind of a lack of appreciation for a common plant, and that's something I always try to go against. Obviously diversity, well, we're not talking about ecology here, but obviously diversity and ecology is super important. You don't want all just common plants either, but you know, when it comes to houseplants, these kinds of plants can be so disregarded because they're so common, and I don't like that. Like, this is such a gorgeous plant, and at the end of the day, me and this plant have had such a history. Like, when I got this, I really didn't know anything about growing houseplants or what this whole craze really was, to be honest. And then it did really badly. Even though it's easy to take care of, it did really badly because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. At the end of the day, this is a variegated plant, and it did require way more light than I was giving it. I had it in a dark corner. It had like 3 leaves. It was sad. I was like, you know, why can't I figure out how this likes to grow? Everybody says it's so easy. Why am I struggling? And now look at it. We've come such a long way. It's so healthy. It's so beautiful. You know, it's just amazing, like the journey that you and a plant can go through. And like I said, I'm just so excited to see the future of this plant. Now, obviously, because it's so big, I'm gonna have to figure out a way for this to like continue to grow and not take over my house. But you know, I'm considering growing on the ceiling, growing on the walls. Like, it's kind of endless. So as far as checking in with you, how are you enjoying the content at the moment? I have been doing some new things with obviously my extra time that I've had to give to the channel with the Plant Basics series and stuff like that. How have you been finding that? Are you interested? Do you like them? Is there anything I can do better or change? Please let me know. I'm always open to feedback and criticism where it's constructive. But I'd really like to know how that's going. I do have even further plans, obviously, for the channel and for the upcoming season, which will be obviously a mix of outdoor and indoor, and also kind of plants in the wild, which I've already said I want to do more of once the growing season in Ireland really picks up. I can take you out and look at some native plants. And I also have some new series planned as well that are quite different to the Plant Basics. That will just be on different topics to do with plants. Obviously Plant Basics is a lot more educational and learning and things like that, but I'm going to get into some other interesting stuff. It's really nice when you upload to then like have a discussion or get, like I said, feedback on the videos, or else it just feels like you're kind of posting into the void and then not knowing how people feel about it or what the thoughts are or anything. So just, yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for the interactions and listening to me and helping me, because all of that stuff really helps, you know. This is good to go. I think next I'm going to do the Hoya linearis while I also wet some coco coir to get ready for the mix for the begonia. So the next video that I'm going to do in this series is going to be about cleaning plant leaves and treating for pests, preventative treatment for pests. Well, I guess it's not just preventative, it's what I do if there's an active infestation as well. That will definitely be the last video in this how I prepare my houseplants for spring kind of series. That's kind of the last step that I would normally do, like I said, to prepare. Okay, Hoya linearis. God, I don't know, it must have been 2 years, at least 2 years ago. I'm not sure. It has flowered for me on a couple of occasions. I do find with this plant, which it may be a me issue because I have never repotted it, but the blooms on this Hoya, it like bursts out with like millions of blooms all over the whole plant and looks unreal. And then they don't reflower for months and months. I don't know why that is. It may be a feature of this plant, or it may be that it's too stressed to continue blooming and that it just uses all that energy and then it's, you know. The thing about this is that, which you might see on the top here, it's quite bald and like the roots are, the weight of the strands, the weight of the stems is too much. Oh, we have a little peduncle here. Maybe it's getting ready to flower again. But the weight of them basically is pulling so much on the plant that it's like ripping it out basically. Now it has kind of formed some woody, hard stems at the top to deal with this, but you know, we don't need to be doing that. So I'm going to try and plant this quite low down in the pot and then weight it down with soil, which I hope is going to stabilize it a bit. Oh, it's coming out so easily. The thing about Hoyas is they don't get like as crazy root bound as other plants, but this is pretty root bound. It's very crumbly, so I'm afraid to show you more, but I mean, it is root bound for sure, but it's not like insane. But to be honest, I find that Hoyas don't get really insanely root bound in my experience. How do you guys feel about ASMR videos? I was thinking of doing some of them. Like I could do a relaxing repotting ASMR next, because I mean I still have quite a few on my list to do. I know that a lot of my subscribers are from the US and Canada, and I'm just curious to know, how do you think the houseplant craze is going where you're from? I personally feel that there's been a huge slowdown in Ireland. Obviously it wasn't ever huge to begin with because we're not a huge country, but I've definitely noticed a considerable decline in interest in people. Do you find that that's the same where you live or no? I just find that quite interesting because obviously pandemic was the height of it, people were at home, and now people are not at home as much and doing a lot more outside activities, which is great, which is a great thing, but plants might not necessarily be included in that anymore. For those of you based in Europe, what are your favorite plant shops? Just let me know, because I'd like to check them out too. I do shop on plants.com, PLNTS, plants.com. That greenhouse one in the Netherlands is really good, but I do think that they have maybe less plants than they used to. And to be honest, I just don't really know much else. But like, obviously obscure plants is really interesting when they're at affordable prices. So if you know of anywhere like that, that would be really interesting to get some really strange looking plants. I'd be forever interested in that. So I'm kind of just putting soil on the top of these here to hopefully when it's watered, it will kind of weight the plant down a bit. But yeah, oh, I'm really happy about this. Yay! Let me lift this up to show you properly. Okay, this is her. This is her. Hi! I'm so happy. Okay. So this is a big pot upgrade, and now I'm looking at the difference. I'm like, will it be okay? I think I just might need to never water it again. I don't know. It is a bit of a jump. So take that with a big grain of salt and do not do as I do, because it's kind of risky, but it is what it is. I've shown it before, but look at this new stock. Is like so thick, bro. It's so thick. Look how thick this is. Crazy. It's like a tree. I actually think the lighter one would be better. Yes, I have a assortment of sticks of sticks in it just stashed in my closet whenever I need them. There's still leftover sticks from our last place that we lived in, when I used to go and collect them. There's a video for that, how I collect and prepare branches for growing houseplants on them. And they're still the same sticks. So that just goes to show, like, they last a long time once they're dry. Obviously, they do start to decay. The part that's in the soil, obviously, that's a natural process and it's wet down there. But to be honest, I've never had like a huge problem of them decaying fast enough before I have to repot, or sometimes they'll decay a bit and I'll flip them around and put the other end in the soil. And it's worked out pretty great for me. This part's getting a bit heavy. Like, plants are so smart. They're just so smart. Look, I'll show you what I mean. This plant started off with this stalk, the bendy one, okay? And started growing. Stalk is quite thin at the bottom, started getting thicker as it goes along. That's very normal. It's actually growing some new leaves down here. And you know, as it's grown and as it's had quite big leaves, the weight of it has made it bend. I have tried to tie it up to this stick, but it actually got too long for me to tie it up in enough time. And so it's just bent and it needs more support. But the plant was like, hey bro, I am a big girl. And I'm so annoying. And the new stalk that came out of the soil is so thick, like I've said, it's totally freaking straight. It's so sturdy. So it was like, if I'm gonna grow again, I need so much more support. And so that's what it did. And I just think that's amazing. I think it's amazing that it knew that, you know? So let's take out this little stick that I had in here, and I'll show you what the bottom looks like. So that's the part that was in the soil, and it's fine. The outer layer is definitely a bit, you know, gooey, but it's fine. It's not like going to snap, and it's totally good to go. And it's been like that for a good, I don't know, I'd say nearly a year now. Oh, it is root brand. It's just that the roots are incredibly fine. So like begonia roots are incredibly fine. You can barely even see them, but they are actually all there. It is totally root bound. It's just that the roots are extremely fine. This is why, like, a lot of plants like philodendron, I mean typical house plants, they cope much easier with being in drier conditions. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they always grow in drier conditions, but you could say that begonias are generally in habitats where there is plentiful water. Not like wetlands or anything, but it might rain often, it might be super humid, which is like a lot of begonias that are difficult to care for require really humid environments. It's what they're used to, and it's why their roots are formulated the way that they are. For once in my life, I did not do my nails before I repotted loads of plants. Gold star for me. Don't even need to stake up this fucking thing. So because this is so bent, I'm not going to just hike it up flush with the branch straight away, because it will probably just be too much pressure on it, but I'm going to gradually tighten it over the next week or 2 weeks. Okay, so I'm just going to show you what the plants look like. Big old pot, big old pot. Looks gorgeous. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful girl. This is the big, thick, straight stalk I was talking about. But yeah, so it looks gorge. We have the huge marble queen, just dragging on the floor. So, big old pot, big old pot. Looks pretty good, I think. And she was here. Oh no! And finally, the Hoya linearis is already up, but I'll just show it to you. That's what it looks like. So pretty, so pretty. Okay, that is it for my repotting video part 3. Look out for part 4, which is coming up soon, where I show you what I use to clean my plant leaves and treat for pests. Thank you so much for watching this very rambly, random video, but I hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you very soon in the next one. Bye bye.